April 11th. Elsewhere in north-central Benue State, students shut down academic activities on campus and closed the Makurdi-Boko Highway. Protesting the over 100% school fees increment for new students. The president of the Student Union government calls the increment outrageous. He wonders how a student would be made to pay over 130,000 naira from the initial 62,000 naira. The students are demanding a reversal to the old school fees.
Our parents are finding it very difficult to pay our school fees. Fulanis are sending us away from the farms. Salaries are not being paid. So now, since they have refused to negotiate the terms with us, we are calling for a total withdrawal of the charges. They are saying we are not affected by these charges, but it should go back to normal, what used to be. We need a start. It varies from level to 62,000. But remember, the governor promised us free education, so we are looking for that he should even reduce it from that 62,000 and not increasing it. That's what we are calling on both the government and the management to do.
The Vice Chancellor invited the Student Union ESCO for a brief. And when we were there, he told us about the increment and introduction of new conditional charges in the university. In respect to what he told us, for law students, the charges amounted to 135,000. This is aside from the school fees. And we now said no. In a poor state like Benue, even the agriculture we have here is not a mechanized agriculture. He should consider the recent invasion of Fulani herdsmen in the state. Even the civil servants here were paid last year, November. So where do they expect us to get these monies from to pay our school fees? They said a very frivolous something that this thing doesn't affect returning students. It's only affecting the incoming students. And we protested on Wednesday in trying to engage the government. On Thursday, the governor invited us at the government house for a chat. We tendered our own plea, explaining what I have said here. The governor directed that the vice chancellor should come back, sit with the student union and the university council and review these charges. We came back, we were waiting patiently that maybe the vice chancellor will call us. He did not call us. All we heard was that he deducted 3,000 naira from acceptance fee, only, which before now was supposed to be 25,000. And for now, he said it's 22,000 and any other thing is done.
The police step in to clear the students from the highway in a peaceful dialogue after hours of protest. Far away from the scene of agitation, the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of administration, Professor Julius Ashiko, pleads with the students to dialogue with the school management. But that didn't go down well with the students who claim such dialogues have never worked.
Our Vice Chancellor met at the invitation of the governor and your union members, ESCO. It was a lengthy meeting, and the report we got was that all the issues had been resolved. It was therefore with a bit of shock that this morning we learned that you are gathered here to say that the issues are now resolved. And when we heard that, we thought, as you know, the Vice Chancellor has traveled. We thought that the best way for us, members of management remaining, the best way for us to know what issues are still outstanding is for your union ESCO and the other members that they may choose to come Parliament to come and brief us so that we will know exactly what is still outstanding. When you say that we should come to the road, we felt that the best thing is, since we don't know what issues are outstanding, you should come and let us hear. It was not in disrespect to you at all. It was because we felt that if we are going to listen to know what outstanding issues are there, you must come so that we have an environment where we will take note of what you are telling us.
But it has been happening over time that sometimes when they go to negotiate with our representatives, they are easily boycotted. And as a matter of fact, we want to say that whatever they have to say before our representatives, we should be here. So that we will know. Because they are always using our representatives to effect changes on us. It's not that we are not confident about them, but we want everything done the way we want it this time. The school management to meet students because they have sent us out of school. We can understand that there are no payments in the town, and this school is established in this society for the society and for the society. So we need them to assist us.
While the police succeeds in clearing the highway for free flow of traffic, the siege on the school's gate continues. The situation has caused a reaction from an academic. This is not the first time students of tertiary institutions in Nigeria, particularly public tertiary institutions, have thronged on the streets protesting hike in their school fees. What and who exactly is responsible for these hikes?
Indeed, it is a major problem. And I think about 6 months to a year ago, I was asked a question if I thought that the education sector in Nigeria is in a state of crisis. And my answer is yes, it is. And I don't think we've even started to take a look at it since then. And yes, we know that the present government has been, saddled with a lot of problems, and they're busy trying to find solutions. But what needs to happen in our educational sector is big. It needs to be something that comes from the foundation. And it's almost like demolishing some things and building new foundations, new structures, so that we can have a solid industry or educational environment. The students that are agitating are right in their agitation, but they also have to think like intellectuals that we're trying to raise them to be analytical of the situation that we found ourselves as a nation, especially where education is concerned. It did not start today. We've let our infrastructure run down. Not only that, we have not devoted the sizable percentage that every other nation is expected to spend on education, which is in the region of maybe 23 to 26%. We're not even close. And even though we bring out our budget and we say, oh, we're spending so much money in the educational sector, a lot of that money is put in the ministries, air conditioner, equipping offices, maybe even building some structures where, you're not expected to be too accountable. We're not putting the money in the students. We're not putting the money in the teachers. And so the students are going to feel it. They're going to feel the lack of infrastructure. We talk about technology. You walk into the average school, they have one or two, maybe three computers. The classrooms are still blackboard and chalk. If you're fortunate enough, you have a whiteboard. Unless you go to a private school where you now have some semblance of technology. So our problems are, so we can't even be talking about technology until we have built up the foundation, which is the universal basic education.
In trying to improve the state of Nigeria's tertiary institutions, The Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, was established and charged with the responsibility of managing, disbursing, and monitoring the education tax to public tertiary institutions in the country. To enable the TET Fund achieve its objectives, the TET Fund Act 2011 imposes a 2% education tax on the assessable profit of all registered companies in Nigeria. The mandate of the fund, as provided by the Act, is to disburse monies to the federal and state tertiary educational institutions, specifically for the provision and maintenance of essential physical infrastructure for teaching and learning, provision of instructional material and equipment, research and publication, academic staff training and development, and other critical and essential need for the improvement of quality and maintenance of standards in higher educational institutions.
University education is not this cheap. So we're charging a price that is not, it's not market. We are charging a socialist price, if you ask me. Well, that's okay, that's the way we want it. But we have to be fair and equitable. The fees must be fair and equitable. So that someone is on campus paying $45,000 and I'm at home and I can't go anywhere. Or I'm forced to go to a private university if perhaps my parents can even afford it, and the government is not contributing anything to my education. So those guys could go out there too and say, listen, we are Nigerian citizens too. Why do I have to pay 10 times for my education simply because you cannot provide a space for me in these state universities? So it depends on how you look at it. A lot of other people are being shafted so that you can pay the $70,000 that we're asking you to pay now. So the blame is on every side. The government is not, they did not set up a platform that will, grant equity all across the board. And the students don't want to pay more because they believe that the government should pay all of their tuition. But the tuition is unreasonable and will not cover the costs of the universities. And so the universities are complaining, that if we don't hike it, we can't provide the infrastructure that you need.
Although some people have expressed mixed feelings.
In 2014, former President Goodluck Jonathan gave his nod to the tapping of funds by all public universities from the 1.3 trillion naira available. But authorities at TET Fund believe improper documentation and rendition of financial returns fund.